Okay, welcome back. You're watching The Market on ET now. The power space has been in action, lots of news flow, and we are seeing stocks as well, seeing a lot of momentum in the last couple of trading sessions. Let's bring on board a very special guest, the CEO and the Managing Director of one of India's largest power generating companies, Tata Power. Dr. Praveer Sinha joins us now on the show. Dr. Sinha, I really appreciate you giving us your time today on ET now. The last couple of days, we've been reading reports about how demand for power has actually been improving. And I guess this is par for the course because India as well is, recovering. We are seeing economic activity picking up. And one of the best indicators of this is improvement in power generation, improvement in power distribution. So help us understand, how has power demand and generation, increased over the last couple of months?
Good morning and thank you for having me on the show. Last few months, we have seen that the power demand has gone up, primarily because the industrial production has picked up pace, but also because there was a delay in the monsoon. And many parts of the country, especially in the months of July and August, the monsoons were delayed and the agriculture consumption required that much more power. As also because of the hot conditions or heat conditions, the consumption in offices and homes increased tremendously. And that's why the peak demand went up to nearly 200 gigawatt, which is much more than what it was even before the COVID. So I think generally things are getting stabilized, and we do expect that this will increase as we move forward. Of course, in last 10 days, the rains have come, and September has been very good rainfall right across the country in the hinterland also, and the demand has come down. But by and large, I would say that the power demand has gone up, and we expect that this trend will continue in future too.
Okay, super. So, Dr. Sinha, tell us, the other reports that we've been reading are with respect to supply of coal and about the new supply being a little lower. So, if you could actually give us the right perspective on that, what's the coal supply situation like, and also what are the inventories that you have at some of your key plants?
Again, this is typical seasonal changes that happens. During monsoon months, many of the open pits where the coal is mined, they get flooded, and thereby the coal supply gets impacted. Also, because of the monsoon, in whichever part it happens, the movement of rakes gets impacted. And every year we find that during the monsoon period, the movement of coal is impacted, and many of the plants in the country are working on very low storage of coal or very low inventory of coal. This happens not only during monsoon, but also during the winter months when we have a lot of fog, and at that time the movement of coal is impacted. Fortunately, our plants, the coal-based plants, which is on domestic coal, are very close to the coal mines, and we were able to transport and have a good stock of coal. Also, our imported coal plant, we have a good stock over there. Of course, the imported coal prices have gone up, and it is at record high, and that is impacting the cost of production. But otherwise, the situation of coal availability at our plants is not at all impacted.
Sure. Mr. Sinha, I wanted to understand, the upcoming opportunity that you identify when it comes to DISCOM privatization. Which are the states which are planning to come up for DISCOM bids or Transco bids? And also Odisha DISCOM privatization, how are things evolving there?
On the DISCOM privatization, I don't think there is much of action. But what is happening is the Electricity Act amendment is talking about the delicensing of distribution business. And that means that you don't need a license to do the distribution, which is today required under the existing Electricity Act. Now, once that happens, then it gives a choice to the customer to have large number of suppliers of electricity. Tata Power is one of the biggest in the country. In fact, we have nearly 12 million consumers, and we will have a pan-India presence wherein the experience and the domain knowledge that we have in distribution will bring this service to all the consumers in different states. So we are definitely looking to go whole hog in all over the country, and will possibly be the biggest player in distribution business in the country.
Sure. Let's talk about the EV space. That's the one which is really, where all the action and the excitement is. After our last chat with you, with the management of HPCL, we understand now you've tied up with Lodha developers as well. Help us understand what exactly is this tie-up all about?
Yeah, we have been tying up with all the oil companies, all the, I would say, all the developers of various buildings, office complexes, and also public spaces. So we have been tying up not only with Lodha, but very many other developers also in various cities to see that when they construct new housing complex or commercial complex, they provide enough space for electric vehicle charging. Every of these buildings, we are trying to ensure that there are certain slots which are earmarked for electric vehicles, and the charging infrastructure is created so that if anyone who uses those buildings has a seamless experience of charging their vehicles, and they need not have any apprehension whether how they would charge and where they would charge. Similarly, we have tying up with many of the public agencies, including the municipal corporations, town corporations, to see that wherever there are parking lots, whether it is in cities or including the metro rail stations and the railway stations, there are certain identified slots in which electric vehicles can be parked and they can be charged. So this is a huge initiative that we have taken. The new initiative that we are working is also putting these chargers on highways. We have a very ambitious program right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. If anyone wants to drive, we'll have a charging slot within 150 kilometers so that they need not have any challenge in traveling in electric vehicle, and there will be a charging facility provided, thereby supporting them in using electric vehicle to a large extent.
Dr. Sinha, good morning. I think the last time that you spoke to us, or perhaps earlier in this year, you spoke about the goal towards deleveraging, and that being one of the focus areas for Tata Power. And also, you were speaking about asset monetization. So, how those two things panning out, and what developments can you talk to us about?
So, deleveraging is an ongoing program that we have been doing for the last 2 years. We did deleverage some of and divested some of our businesses, and that has helped us to deleverage our balance sheet. We continue to look at opportunities to divest some of our international assets, which is in Georgia, Zambia, and other places. We do expect that some of them should fructify in this year. We are also looking at how we can come up with business plans and get partnerships whereby we are able to get an investor who can support us with our growth plans. So this is an ongoing program that we continue to do. Apart from our initiatives to go for asset-light investments, we are also looking for partnerships, and that's an area that we continue to always work to see that we have enough cash for our growth in the future.
Dr. Sinha, the primary markets here in India are absolutely buoyant, and there are reports about a potential plan for a listing of your renewable business. Is that on the cards?
Well, we keep on examining the market, and a decision like this has to be taken in the long-term perspective. We examine the market, but we definitely look at an opportunity which will bring value to our shareholders and to our investors. So to that extent, all these things are always examined, but as and when we decide, we will take a long-term decision and then accordingly inform everyone.
Dr. Sinha, I just want to get back to that question on coal. We understand that Coal India as well has hiked prices of some of its grades. Plus, in general as well, coal prices have gone up quite a bit. So if you could just throw some light on that, are you seeing an increase in coal prices, to what extent, and how this would impact especially operations at the Mundra power plant? If you could just share a little bit of light on that.
So Coal India has not hiked any price as yet. Of course, the international coal prices are determined by the international demand and supply of coal. What we are seeing is that the international coal prices from all countries are at its peak. This level was never reached in last 20 years. And we expect that once the demand reduces and the supply increases, this should soften in the next few months. But as far as we are concerned in Mundra, we have adequate stock. Also, we are not operating all the units because the coal prices have gone up, and we are waiting for the coal prices to reduce, then take a call on operation of all the units.
All right, okay. Sir, just to sort of wind it up, if you could talk to us about asset monetization, and you're entering lots of new age businesses, new age power businesses, for the renewable space as well. Could we expect an IPO over there on that front soon enough?
We had shared with you that how we are growing in our renewable business. Today we are the biggest in the EPC for solar projects. We are also the biggest in rooftop solar pumps, and also in the EV charging. And these are businesses of growth which we started only 2 years back, and they need to stabilize, which we expect that in next 1 year it will stabilize and reach a scale whereby the confidence will be there that this is a big business opportunity for us in the future. So that's where we are at present. All these decisions are long-term implications, and we definitely examine all of them very diligently to ensure that we extract maximum value for our shareholders. At this stage, everything is under discussion. We have not taken a final call. It's going to take some more time before we finally come and announce our plan for future monetization. And I'm sure we'll be sharing with you once it is finalized.
All right. Dr. Sinha, thank you so much for taking the time and for speaking to ET Now. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.